Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is the case of the Idaho quadruple murders. May the 4 victims rest in peace, condolence to their families, and justice for the victims. In the beginning of this case, there was a couple of reports made to the police in Washington, Pullman, and Idaho, Moscow. There were people that felt like they were being stalked by strange people. In 2 of the incidents, the person had on a mask. He was 5.5 feet, and he had on a cap. Luckily, the victims did not come to any harm's way, and they reported the incidents to the police. This was a week after the murders. So I personally believe that there could still have been a suspect that allegedly couldn't have been Brian Christopher Kohlberger, because we are aware that Brian Christopher Kohlberger is 6.1 or 6.2 feet. This was a young man in his early 20s, or he was 20 years old, wearing a medical mask and a baseball cap. That was the description. That was the description that was given by 2 of the victims who were being stalked.
Followed by a man over the weekend. In the first case, the woman was followed by a car described as a blue 4-door Toyota sedan while walking her dog. In the second case, the man followed a woman into the laundry room of her apartment complex and grabbed her arm. She screamed, and police say the man took off. Police described the suspect as a white man about 20 years old, wearing a medical mask and a baseball hat.
Pullman police are investigating reports of a man who tried to force himself into the apartment of a young woman he doesn't know. The victim posted her story on Facebook, and it is getting a lot of attention tonight. So much attention, in fact, that Pullman PD addressed it on its own Facebook page.
Crypto's Amanda Rowley went to Pullman today to learn more about what happened. She is joining us live from the Pullman Police Department. Amanda, what have you learned so far?
I confirmed this afternoon that Pullman police are investigating an attempted abduction of a PhD international student at Washington State University. Now, that student is okay, but police are still searching for the suspect. Meantime, students who live near where this incident happened are feeling uneasy tonight.
Recent events on the Palouse over the last few months have understandably put the Pullman community on edge. And now there's even more concern after someone tried to force their way into a WSU student's apartment Friday night.
Oh my gosh, that's scary because it's like right here where I'm living at.
Selena Salou lives a few doors down from where the incident happened. She learned about the attempted abduction in a group chat.
Just to even walk out, to go to your car, just like throw the trash away, it's like scary because it's like you're like now it's like you have to look where you're going and watching like who's like out and stuff, because it's like you can't really trust anyone now.
The rest of the community learned about what happened after the victim posted about it online. According to that post, after walking home Friday night, the PhD student noticed a black car parked outside her apartment. She says it was running and the trunk was left open. She got inside the apartment, but when she went to close the door, a man grabbed the door handle and tried forcing himself inside. The post says she had to use her full body weight to close and lock the door. She reported this to police shortly after, and then, out of fear, she left Pullman as soon as she could.
We need the community's help.
Commander Aaron Brashear says officers arrived on scene within minutes and made extra patrols that night, but they did not find the man or the black car. He says the man is described as approximately 5'5" and was seen wearing a green sweatshirt. Police are also searching for a black sedan, possibly a Nissan Altima with faded black paint and no license plates. Right now, officers are investigating all possible leads, talking to neighbors, and asking the community to share any information that may be helpful to the investigation.
Now, today I spoke with that PhD student who reported this incident. She tells me she is glad she's okay and feeling very lucky. In the meantime, just a few hours ago, Pullman police posted on Facebook they are also investigating reports of a suspicious male who's been seen looking into homes on College Hill. Now, to be clear, police say they do not believe this is related to that attempted abduction incident, but we'll keep tracking this story as it develops.
I have to be clear by saying this is speculations and rumors, this part of my presentation, due to this picture was circulating around Reddit and social media in the beginning of the case. People were speculating that this was DM and BK. I don't know what y'all think about it. Leave it in the comment. But I just thought of showing y'all this since I said that I will be leaving no stone unturned. But when it's speculations, rumors, I say it out clearly so that there wouldn't be any confusion. So this was on Reddit, just like Papa Rogers and Brian Koberger is research where we were searching for participants, ex-cons, basically ex-prisoners, to talk about if they've committed a murder, how did they feel like, and what they went through, and what their emotions were like. The reason I say all this is speculations, because let's be honest, we have to take it with a grain of salt. Anything that comes from social media, it could be people trying to frame BK, it could be people just putting out things, because I know when BK was arrested, many people started faking accounts and making accounts of him in Instagram with different pictures, and that is going to be an issue itself in court. But if we go according to this speculation, if you look at the body shape, we haven't seen BK without a t-shirt, obviously, but it does look a bit like BK due to the hair. But it could be anyone else, because I've seen pictures of this guy that looks like BK, and I'm still trying to find those pictures. So if people are saying or suggesting that this is BK, then it kind of lines up with what I had in mind. I used to always think that either Bethany Funk or Dylan Mortensen could possibly know BK, whether they were having a relationship with him, whether they were doing drugs with him, trigger warning, because let's not forget, he's been doing drugs for 5 years, and that's another thing. That is true people, to his friends that we hear. So how much can you actually take that serious too? Because for me, I believe that some of his friends or some of the students that he went to school with are just gaslighting. We don't know who is who, and we have to take everything with a grain of salt. But if I go according to this theory that somebody inside the house knew BK, it makes more sense to me, because they could have called him later on after the crimes, allegedly, to frame him. That is completely possible. Another thing that I've been paying attention to is when people say that Brian Koberger left his leather knife sheet. So like I was saying, the reason I believe that somebody in the inside, it could be honestly, allegedly, the surviving roommates or someone that knew the girls. There were many people that used to party in this house. So somebody could have been working with BK from the inside, not necessarily to commit the crimes, but to frame him after the crimes. because I was thinking about the leather night sheet. It is usually around someone's belt, and it's made of solid leather. So it's not like one of the victims tried to pull it out of his belt. That is the reason I believe at times that leather sheet was planted. It could be easily planted there after the quadruple murders. And I personally believe that this was two groups of people that did these crimes. The reason that I say that is if you look at the Sigma boys, the fraternities, they were under investigation. And that is facts. That's evidence that they were under investigation. We don't know how long they were under investigation. We don't even know if they were ruled out, because the police hasn't told us that they're ruled out. 3 unidentified male DNAs were found in the scene. I've heard a certain YouTube creator who always sticks up for Sigma Chi boys yesterday saying on a live that it was 2 unidentified DNA evidence, and that is completely false. It's 3. One was found on the Good Vibes picture. You can watch that on Inside Edition and New York Post. The other one was the Leighton diamond footprint of the Vans shoe. Who leaves 1 shoe print behind and not 2? It sounds to me like that was left behind after the murders. I don't know what was going on inside the house after the murders, but that footprint I think is a bit strange, because people walk usually on 2 feet. 2 shoe footprints should be lying there. And then the third one is the glove that was found outside. So those were the 3 unidentified male DNAs. Many people confuse it by saying that the leather knife sheet is one. No, the leather knife sheet is what they are taking Brian Kober down for. So these 3 unidentified male DNAs are not Bethany Funk, and it's not Dylan. Because obviously, and it's not even the detectives who were on the scene. Because the forensic team are experts in what they do, although they came in without the necessary things like the gloves and mask and such things, the footwear and all. They knew what was found inside the house that didn't belong to them. These are a bunch of detectives. If the glove belonged to them, they would have definitely said it belonged to them. And the DNA of the glove would have come out that it belongs to someone on the scene. So I personally believe that there was 2 set of killers, trigger warning. The reason I say that is because what was going on in the grub truck and the corner club, I believe, was a target on Kaylee and Maddie. May they rest in peace. Xana and Eaton, his target, came from the Sigma Chi boys, allegedly. The more I research, the more I dig into this case, and I've been watching this case from when the breaking news came out on Creme TV. The 4chan post that these Sigma Chi boys allegedly said how they are going to do the killings. They made it clear. They said, we're going to do it in 19 minutes. We're not going to take any phone device with us, because they have been partying in that house, believe me. So they know that the Wi-Fi is going to catch their phones. They didn't want it to be connected, their phones to be connected into the Wi-Fi system. We saw the 4 or 5 figures weren't walking casually like they came from a party or somewhere. They were jogging, they were running. There was a lot going on that night. I'm surprised when so many people have said it's an awfully quiet night. There was nothing quiet about that night. The grub truck was full of people. Banfield body cam had 4 people, including Saeed. I want to know what exculpatory evidence does Bethany Funk has that BK wants. When I looked at that picture from Reddit, allegedly Dylan and BK, if it's true, which I don't believe, but you never know what is true and what's false in this case. If that is the truth, then I wonder if BK wants Bethany Funk to testify that she was witness to that he was dating Dylan, and that's how they got him framed or got him involved in the situation. Bethany Funk lives in the ground floor or the first floor. Let's not forget the door was left wide open. The neighbor saw that at 8:30 in the morning when he was on his way to work. So did Bethany Funk, did BF hear all the commotion going upstairs? Did she understand that this was serious, that this was a serious situation going up? Did she decide to run for her life, leaving the door wide open? Or was it Dylan herself who ran out? Hunter Johnson attends Sigma Chi, or lives in Sigma Chi Fraternity. He's a very important role. He plays an important picture in the crime scene because the surviving roommates called him. He was called by the surviving roommates because apparently somebody was unconscious. But we have heard that it was one of the surviving roommates that fell unconscious after she witnessed what she witnessed. That's what it sounded like, even when the police, Chief Fry said that somebody was unconscious, so 911 was called to seek aid for the person. But we've heard that they thought that one of the roommates was unconscious and wouldn't get up. There is so much things that contradict each statement. That doesn't make sense. The coroner has told us something, but we've heard other things from the coroner's statements too. She did 2 interviews. We've heard that the Sigma Chi boys came to help, like Hunter. But my question is, this is a quadruple murder crime scene. When Hunter saw what he saw, common sense should have told him to get out of the house and call 911 immediately. These are students. Let's not forget they're not 10 years old or 5 years old. This is a young man. He's 20 years old or 21. He's Kaylee's age. So they do know what a crime scene is. And let's not forget the coroner said herself that it was a bloody crime scene. So why was he hanging around there trying to take pulse of somebody who was long gone? He shouldn't be taking pulse of a person when he can see that it's a bloody crime scene. I hate to say this, trigger warning, but we saw the red liquid dripping out of Xana's room from the outside. So were they tampering with the scene on purpose? I showed you all the articles where it showed clearly that when one of the roommates went outside and one got hysterical and the other one fell unconscious, I guess. People who were outside, surprised with all the yelling and all, went inside the house. Neighbors went inside the house, went to the second floor, went to the third floor, and checked what was happening. So imagine how many other unidentified sources and evidence were in the room and in the houses. We don't even know if the crime scene was cleaned up. The reason I say that is it doesn't take Art 8 hours to be in a shock mode. DM and BF were texting each other. That's a fact. So if they were texting each other, what more was being done? We've heard Kaylee's friend Eva saying it was 10 in the morning. I called Kaylee's phone. Nobody answered and she was crying. We know that Hunter Johnson and they called later on Hunter Eaton, his brother, to the scene. Many people were roaming around in the crime scene. The crime scene was already tampered with. How do we know these bunch of people who were in the crime scene that they did not plant the leather knife sheet? If we go according to that Reddit picture and it was true that DM had a thing with BK, if that was true, that means BK is touch evidences in the house no matter what. So they could have easily planted that on the knife sheet. It is hard to get a knife sheet out of someone's belt if they decide not to take it off. And haven't you all noticed it was put in so lightly and gently between Maddie and under Maddie is duvet or sheets? Doesn't that tell you something? I'm not defending Brian Kohlberger, but I don't think he would be so dumb, I hate to say that, so ignorant, after he's learned for a couple of years and he was one of the best students in Professor Ramsley's class. He's been dealing with crime scenes for a very long time. So why would he think, okay, before I do the crime, now let me take off my belt, take out the leather knife sheet, put it on the bed to give a signature that I was here? That doesn't sound right at all. If Brian Kohlberger did this horrific quadruple murders, his blood would have been found on the scene. This act of the killings that happened does get DNA exchanged. How come nothing was found? No evidence beside the knife sheet was found of Brian Kohlberger there. Whether it's blood, whether it's other DNA evidences, not a touch of DNA, Hunter has been in 2 of the body cam footages of the police. Let's remember that. And we don't know how many other times he was there. That was just the 2 times he was on camera. Imagine the 600, 700 times more that he was in the house. He practically lived there. If police find their DNA and the Sigma Chi boys' DNA, they're going to get away by saying, yes, we used to party there. So and so is my witness. These people are standing up for each other. Let's get this clear. We have John Showalter apparently went to his parents' cabins, and guess who can confirm that? His mother. Where was Hunter that night? Isn't he supposed to be Eaton, his close friend? Even if he was not there, he would have known what happened later on. The fraternity boys are not going to keep quiet. They're telling each other. I can bet you that. Look at his face. This was the most, I hate to say, unemotional, no empathy speech in the whole speeches that were given of the 4 students. He didn't look up to the camera. He must have looked only once or twice. Look at how red his face is. I'm not accusing him for anything, but I'm just saying I don't find his speech to be very sincere. The fraternity boys know exactly what happened that night. That's because they were under investigation. The police has never ruled them out. Hoodie Guy was ruled out. Jack D was ruled out the last. But the Sigma Chi boys didn't have cameras, nothing to prove. Somebody could have sneaked out, or 5 figures could have sneaked out. We saw them running back. This is another example of Hunter in the house with zip ties. Hunter felt very comfortable being in this house, and if the Sigma Chi boys allegedly were involved or knew something about this, or that there was a fight that broke out that night in the Sigma Chi fraternity with Eaton and Xana, don't you believe he knows? He knows the word in town. He knows exactly what happened. Why don't these people just come and own up to the police? Because if Brian Koberger, his case becomes a hung jury, or if he walks away with this, and if he's not involved and the jury finds him not guilty, like he said he will be exonerated, let's say if that happens, what is going to happen to these 4 poor students and their families? When is justice going to be served? And the most important thing is, if Brian Koberger did not do it, that means there are some savages, hate to say that word, but it's the truth. The monsters roaming around, living with the college students. There could be 1, 2, or 4, or 5 of the other students. And believe me, getting away with murder is not easy. But if a person does that, they will strike again at another time. That is why I want these 4 victims to get their justice, and justice to be served correctly. I personally believe this case is taking so long because there's no proper evidence to hand over. Where are the 3 DNA, male DNAs? At night, white cars would look the same from a distance. This is Jack D's car. Did Jack D lend his car keys to someone? Did Jack D drive his own car? Could this car be important in this case? Another thing that is extremely important is when the gas station, was it in Troy Road, took the picture of the Elantra in the CCTV camera, let's not forget the time stamp was at 3:35 a.m. And that car was speeding off. If it was Brian Koberger, That timeline should have showed around 4 a.m. in the morning, or 10 to 4, or 5 to 4, somewhere around those timings. Something doesn't make sense. And in that car, the picture was taken, or it was in the recording footage of the gas station. If you zoom in properly, you see it's not only one passenger was driving. It wasn't only the driver. There was somebody sitting behind. And let's not forget, the police were searching for occupants in a 2011 to a 2013 Hyundai Elantra. They wanted to speak to them because they were seen around those areas. Let's talk about Kaylee Congaz for a second. Kaylee was the only one who was in the process of moving to Austin, Texas. Was someone upset with her for that? Could it have been an ex-boyfriend? Because let's not forget, Kaylee was taking her dog with her. He was following Kaylee on Instagram. Kaylee wasn't following him. He even sent a message saying, "I love you." There was no response from Kaylee. So could that be one of the reasons that somebody got extremely jealous and mad over that the person was leaving them? Temporary insanity can happen to anyone. But was this a crime of passion, like the mayor said? That's the mayor's words. Did the mayor hear that from the police? Let's not forget, they kept on saying that this crime was targeted. Who are the targets? The whole of the grub truck, half of them looked like that they were waiting for these two young girls to walk in. Isn't it strange that Murphy did not get hurt? He had no DNA evidence on him. He had no red liquid on him. There wasn't any blood on him. That's why I keep on saying this had to be an inside job. How many people know Murphy from inside? Let's see. Besides the 4 victims, I'm sure Dylan and Bethany Funk know Murphy well, because they live in the same house. Kaylee used to get her dog around, so they know the dog well. Adam knows the dog. Jack D obviously knows his dog. Hunter Johnson knows the dog because he used to come around. All these people know the dog. Somebody kept the dog quiet, or somebody took the dog out for a walk while this was happening. The timeline was between 3 to 4. We heard the screaming on the body cam in the clip I made yesterday at 2:55 and 16 seconds. When the police is talking to Saeed, you hear, "Stop! Stop it! Stop!" And that was right after the girls called Jack D 10 times on the hole. What happened after that? What happened to Maddie's jacket, if it was Maddie's black jacket that was thrown where the undercover police car was parked? What happened? Did somebody snatch it off Maddie? Did Maddie and Kaylee see something when they got out of the car and they started running downstairs? Or did someone try to attack them at home and they ran downstairs and somebody snatched the jacket off them? It is a possibility. Did something happen to Ethan and Xana between the hours of 9:45 to 1:45 because the police wanted to know their timeline. Did the guys from 4chan come for Eaton and Xana? They said things were brewing for a long time. That's the reason I'm starting to believe that all 4 or possibly 3 were the targets. Xana and Eaton were the targets, definitely. But their targets, I've always said, comes from the fraternity boys. These are college students who did it. This is someone local who did it. And the reason I say that is because there was a fight at the Sigma Chi. You should always pay attention to the things that have happened 48 hours, 72 hours, maybe a week, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. Check out who the victims' enemies were, who they were having beef with, who they were exchanging words with. And we know it's the Sigma fraternity boys. Were they jealous of Eaton? He was good in sports. He was a loving person. He had a beautiful smile. And he had his queen, Xana. These boys wanted Xana. One of them wanted Xana and they were jealous of that. So hate, jealousy, rage, all that could be a possibility. Crime of passion again. Who were the targets? Xana spoke to her father at 12 a.m., so we know that they were safe at 12 a.m. Unless she was hiding it from her father. And she said she was going to order food. Why would Xana need to order food again? Just because Xana was on TikTok, that isn't proof of life. Because a TikTok was open, it doesn't necessarily mean. We didn't see Xana putting up pictures of herself or videos of herself. She was watching, or she commented on her, or liked a friend's TikTok. Whoever did this crime could have pretended to be Xana. Xana's debit card, we call it debit card, Visa card, being used for the food order could have been done by someone else because it was paid by contactless. Let's not forget that. She didn't have to sign for the delivery like an Amazon package. Was someone in the inside working with these people? Somebody was informing them when the 4 were on their way home. Bethany Funk witnessed enough. She was there at the Sigma Chi, let's not forget. She doesn't have to be at home to witness someone passing by her window. Like some YouTube creator who's supporting Sigma Chi is trying to spread around there. Absolutely not. Let's not forget BF was physically and mentally present. She was present at the Sigma Chi fraternity party. So she knows exactly what was said, what was done. She watched the fight. I wonder if she called 911 on the Banfield boys, allegedly. Anyone could have called. Whoever called could have done that because they knew the 411. They knew what was going on. They knew exactly what was about to. This was brewing up. I'm sure the fraternity boys told each other, word passed around that we are going to do it tonight, allegedly. And somebody decided to call the police. Or maybe somebody decided to call the police for the minor alcohol stop so that they can keep the police, the undercover police, busy on Banfield while they take action on the 4 victims. Where was John? Showalter. He's been harassing women. He's been thrown out of the fraternity. He has psychopathic behaviors. I'm not saying he's a psychopath. He has antisocial personality disorder behaviors. You see how he kills animals. He overkills is the right word. He had 2 large knives, K-bar knives, in the picture where he was all bloody and the animal was skinned in and out. He took out, I don't even want to see it, but you've seen the pictures. Watch out for people like that. That is important to watch out. He was just a rich kid. I believe that his parents got him alibis. Allegedly. Did he speed up with the white Elantra? Maybe. Maybe that could have been him that was seen near the gas station. Because there was somebody was sitting behind. I wonder if that is the direction you take to go to Boise, Idaho. Where was Quinn Kelly, Dylan's boyfriend? And I've always said I really want to know what was the relationship between Dylan, Bethany, and the 4 victims. Were the roommates having problems? Let's not forget, Eaton did not live there, so Xana, Maddie, and Kaylee worked together, lived together, and all that. So the 2 new members were the 2 freshmen, Dylan and Bethany. What was the relationship like? Was one of them or both of them envious of the girls? Maybe, allegedly. I'm just trying to check all the possibilities. And I'm not attacking any victims or surviving victims. They're not surviving victims. They're just surviving roommates. Because that is what Chief Fry said. He said in the press conference, I did not say they were victims. I said they were just there. So since they were just there, why didn't they call 911 for 8 hours? There's a lot of questions that we cannot ignore that are right in front of us. We want the right person to go down for these murders. If it was Brian Koberger, then he deserves it. If it wasn't him, then it's unfair. Where's the justice system? They say guilty, not guilty until proven guilty. They want to prove Brian Koberger guilty, but they're not giving in the evidence. Why? Why? Did they get the genealogical forensic evidence in the wrong manner, in an illegal manner? Experts are being, I wouldn't say harassed, but yeah. Law enforcement is going to the house after they give a testimony. What's going on? Why did Eaton, his mother, may rest in peace, say 2 a.m. is the hardest time for us? Why? Something happened after 2. The coroner said she pronounced her death after 2 a.m. I know that could be 4 a.m., but that's a bit long stretch.
Stop it. Stop. Okay, I'm going to go back.
Yeah. 19? Yep. Okay, 021?
Stop it. Stop.
Yeah. 19? Yep. Okay, 021?
So, Chris.
Okay, I'm going to go back.
Yeah. 19? Yep. Okay, 021?
Stop it. Stop.
Yeah.
Okay.
19.
Yep.
Okay, delivery going.
So, Chris, the more I hear it, the closer it actually sounds. First, I thought it would be as far away. It doesn't sound like it's that far away from where those two officers, the undercover officers, were. But again, we don't know, and this is enhanced audio. So
Spike in his audio on the tape, and so something is going on in the background because both of those body cameras pick this up, both of them, not one, two.
You heard that.
So I think it would have been an anomaly if it was like one and you'd kind of listen pretty clearly, but this second one right here, you can hear the person say, "Stop it, stop." Okay. Now, is this what? I don't know. Right? I don't know. Right? I don't know. Is it an attack taking place at 3 o'clock in the or at 02:55.16 in the morning? Is that what's happening?
If one of the DNA, unidentified DNAs, was found in the Good Vibes picture, could it have happened that somebody was wrestling or fighting with Ethan or Xana right over there? Did they get attacked near that place? And did someone's fingerprints just smudge there? And if that is the case, for that fingerprints to have been there, Dylan knows more than she's saying, I believe. Please let me know in the comments section. This is for entertainment purpose only. May the students, the 4 victims, get their justice. May they rest in peace. Condolence to the families. Please, guys, like, share, and subscribe. It does help me to spread awareness. Good night.